Today we have two things on our minds: International Zero Waste Day, for which you will see some great initiatives, and commemorating the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. We've all seen images of that hill with the cross. That hill, in fact, is Golgotha, so called because the hill is shaped like a skull. The ancient church believed that Golgotha was the place where Adam, of Adam and Eve fame, was buried, which makes it more symbolic that Jesus was crucified for mankind's sins at the place where the first of mankind is buried. Welcome to Kaleidoscope, where we are positive, daring and different. Today on the show, we take a look at Zero Waste Day with a turning of trash into cash and ridding the beach of garbage, and we discuss the women at the cross. Kaleidoscope is on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram and LinkedIn. Subscribe, follow and do like us for more great content. To our fantastic partners on the show, Srilanka Live, CDB and The Daily Morning, thank you for being amazing.
CDB Hybrid Leasing. Enjoy exclusive interest rate and much more for hybrids, plug-in hybrids and EV vehicles.
And here are the highlights of the week that was on CDB Snapshot.
And it's good news. Sri Lanka's merchandise exports are up to $984 million in February. And Sri Lanka's jobless rate went from 4.7 to 4.3% from the Q3 to Q4 of 2023. Ukraine is making history with Europe's first 3D printed school building. It only took 40 hours. The world produces 62 million tons of e-waste, which is increasing 5 times the rate of recycling. And in an attempt to be the fun police, Cambodia's PM bans musical horns in public.
You focus on your goals. We will take care of the risks. Srilanka Life.
Welcome to Srilanka Life News Capsule. It's International Zero Waste Day, and this machine, which you may have seen at some supermarkets, truly does that. Tries to make Earth zero waste, and you get cash for it too. Trash to Cash was launched by a new startup, Chakrasutra, to collect recyclable waste and give cash for that waste. The brainchild of founder Chakrasutra, Dr. Himesh Fernando, we met up with him at Keel Supermarket at Dali Road to check it out. Firstly, how big is the plastic problem in Sri Lanka?
Sri Lanka generates 938 metric tons a day of plastic, right? And then of which 4% only enters the recycling stream. So the other 96% goes into landfills, waterways, or are burnt, or enters the seas. So there's a big gap between the quantity getting consumed on a daily basis and only a 4% of that actually making its way through to the recyclers. So that's the gap we're trying to bridge with Trash to Cash.
So if someone has a plastic bottle, what's the process?
The behavioral change we expect is at a household level, at a business level. When you consume, so you consume maybe 1, 2, 3 bottles a day as a family. Plastics, it could be any form of plastic, right? I mean, any plastic bottle. Not only plastic, Tetra Paks, aluminum cans, all of that. What we expect is don't put it into your normal rubbish, normal garbage or your plastic garbage, which you hand it into municipality waste. Because that's another problem again, only certain municipalities it enters the recycling stream. What we're saying is collect all of them in your household into a different bag. And surely you have a very recurrent behavior of coming to a supermarket maybe once a week, once in 2 weeks. So put it in your car or any other mode of transport you're using. Bring it when you come maybe once a month, once in 2 weeks. Use the machine, put it all in, get all the credit, and use it as an incentive when you pay your bills.
How much money does one get for a bottle?
So for any plastic bottle, you name any drinking, milk, shampoo, conditioner, it's ₹1. Any Tetra Pak, the Ambevalas, the Kotmalas, the Anchors, any juice carton, ₹1. Any can, a beer can, soft drink can, energy drink, ₹1. So all of that you can collect, each item gets ₹1.
And the redemption plan?
You get a text message at the end of the session and under your phone number, because you got to put in your phone number. When you pay the bill, you just mention your phone number just like you would redeem any point system. and the cashier will see how many points you've accumulated at the system, and it will come out of your bill. You only have to pay the remainder to settle your groceries.
Where do these bottles go?
The plastic bottles, we work with downstream recyclers like Eco Spindles, who shred it, who make it into a yarn, and then onward value chain into fabric manufacture, and then garment manufacture ultimately for plastics. For Tetra Paks, we work with a company, a recycling company called Eco Maximus. So it gets again fragmented, the polyal gets separated from the cardboard. The cardboard part of the carton gets into book and paper production. Very useful, it goes back into schools and various other export markets. Aluminium cans, we work with the existing aluminium fabrication value chain. So again, the cans get melted and they go into aluminium sheet fabrication back into the production line for new aluminium. It's infinite, the aluminium recycling.
You've also done a pilot project in a school. How has that panned out?
So it was a very gamified recycling initiative. We started with the lower school, the kids, because we feel that's where the change happens. So gamified in the sense it was a competition. All of the households, whatever that's recyclable, plastics, cartons, cans, you collect. You bring it to school when you come. So at each class level, there's a collection that's measured by the class teacher. It's called the Recycling Thursday. Takra Sutra consolidates, reconciles that the weight, and for the equivalent of the weight that's handed over, we incentivize the school and the environment club so that everyone wins out of the collection. And for kids, it's a fantastic game for them to win something at the end of the term.
And now for a peek at the markets this week.
The All Share Price Index at the Colombo Stock Exchange increased by 1%, with the average daily turnover levels continuing to be recorded at above 1 billion rupees. Crude oil inventories in the United States rose this week by 9.3 million barrels, leading to the price of oil moving down slightly to the $86 per barrel level. Gold prices edged slightly lower due to the US dollar strengthening, but remained close to all-time highs of $1,179 per ounce. This week, 200 of Paris's best waiters competed in a competition, taking a croissant and a glass of water across a 2-kilometer track to win. Painter Sarah Ball is reimagining the concept of dandyism, excessive elegance, and pivoting it to the female gaze with some stunning portraits.
Good Friday remembers the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. I am standing here at St. Andrew's, Scottskirk, and there was a stained glass window actually at the church that prompted me to think of something very different about Good Friday, the women at the crucifixion. While all four Gospels mention the presence of a group of female disciples at the crucifixion, there are different interpretations of how many and which women were present. But that's not all. I'd like to focus on the bigger picture. The New Testament has a lot of references to women, and it seems that Jesus definitely didn't have a problem with women. But can the same be said for the others? Today with me at St. Andrew's, Scottskirk is Pastor Dilhani Veerasurya, and we spoke about the women at the cross. What do we know about which women were at the cross?
We are told in all four accounts in the Gospels that the women who followed Jesus' teachings followed him from Galilee to Jerusalem. And there was Mary, the mother of Jesus, Mary Magdalene, Mary, the mother of James and Joseph, and Salome. And there was Mary's sister, who was married to Cleophas, I think, and a few others were mentioned by name. The others, they said, watched at a distance.
There were, like you mentioned, there were the Marys who were there. What's with this name Mary, and why were the Marys themselves there and the others watching from a distance?
Mary seems to be a popular name at that time, and I think it was derived from Miriam. And Miriam was a slave during the time of the rule of Egypt. And here, it was the rule of Rome. I don't know whether there's anything in common there, but they say that Mary means beloved, rebellious, bitter, And I think it was derived from the Hebrew name Maria or Miriam.
What attitudes were held about women during that time?
Women were more seen and not heard, and it was because I think men took the leading role and women submitted. It was also because I believe in the Old Testament they thought that women will be protected and provided for by the men, and so women, sadly, they could not own property at that time, nor could they even testify in a court of law.
So given the laws and the gender politics and policies of that time, were women allowed to be at the crucifixion in this close proximity as we see them?
We are told in the Gospels that the women watched from a distance, but in the Gospel of John in chapter 19, John records that Jesus spoke to his mother from the cross, and he said, "Woman, behold your son." And he said to John, "Behold your mother." And John took care of Mary ever since. So John was a witness, and he recorded the fact that Mary was at the foot of the cross.
So what lessons, Dilhani, can we take from the women at the crucifixion?
Every woman, every man, we have been called by God. Each one, we have a calling on our lives, regardless of gender, genes, or generation. And when we hear that call, just as the women at the cross gave their hearts, followed Christ, they were willing to even lay down their lives for him, we too need to follow where the Master leads and be his hands, his feet, his heart of love to a lost and needy world.
One other thing, Dilhani, there are lots of women in the Bible, strong women who have held their own. Again, what lessons can we learn from them, given that they lived in an era when women were kept under and not allowed, like you said, were rather seen and not heard?
They understood who they were and whose they were. The most important thing is to know whose you are. They knew that they were daughters of God. They were equal with anyone because God made them in his own image. And so they were comfortable with themselves. Women need to be comfortable in who they are and what they are called to do. And so they didn't have to prove anything to anyone. They merely followed where they were led.
On Life in 60 today, here's yet another project on our theme, Zero Waste. This one is where Senegal Life tackles a mounting beach waste problem, this time at Crow Island, Matakulia.
This beach gets polluted because of the Kalani River. You see the estuary of the Kalani River over there. How can we protect this marine ecosystem? The only way is to stop polluting the rivers and waterways. The more we pollute the rivers and waterways, the ocean gets polluted. Once these, especially plastics, enter the ocean, it turns into microplastics and it gets consumed by the marine life. Once marine life consumes that, it ends up on our plate when we eat fish and seafood.
Facilitated by the Clean Ocean Force, this project also highlights the needs for corporates to bring in the true meaning of corporate stewardship.
When we came here, we realized the amount of work that the corporates can do it. I believe all the corporates must take this initiative, at least come here and support this Clean Ocean Force and the country to make it a little more greener, a little more cleaner.
Clean Ocean Force is also not only on the beaches, but we also protect the ocean, the waterways, lagoons, mangroves, and also underwater. So today, you're not only going to protect the people, but where the people live.
After 2 hours of cleaning, the collection amounted to a total of 700 kilograms of plastic, rubber, regifoam, polythene, glass, and everything else in between.
We as a nation must get together and make sure that we stop polluting our waterways, and that day we can stop or at least reduce this mass pollution of the ocean.
Think zero waste and happy Easter. We will see you next week.